Hi everyone, welcome to this Scarecrow video live stream. My name is Colleen O'Halloran. I program the WTF lineup for the Seattle International Film Festival, which is happening May 11th through the 21st. And I'm joined today by Mallory O'Mara. Mallory is a filmmaker, a podcaster, historian, and author. Her books include The Lady from the Black Lagoon, Hollywood Monsters, and the Lost Legacy of Milicent Patrick, as well as Girly Drinks, a world history of women and alcohol. I wanted to start off just by asking you if you frequented a video store growing up that was particularly memorable for you.
Yeah, I grew up in Haverhill, Massachusetts, and we had a little tiny video store in this plaza near Market Basket, although I guess everything in Massachusetts is near Market Basket. But I love this video store. Going to the video store on like a Friday with my mother and my sister was like very exciting when you were a kid, makes me feel very old to think about it. But I used to love going there and getting to pick out a movie. It was just like such a special experience.
With the books behind you, the movies behind me, lots of physical media for everybody to get their hands around.
It'll never die. It will absolutely never die.
You are obviously someone who's into horror, based on the books you've written and the films that you've been involved in. So my guess is that you probably started dabbling at the video store at a young age. But I'm wondering if you can, maybe talk about some of the films that you rented when you were younger that were particularly memorable or impressionable for you.
Oh, for sure. I definitely gravitated toward things with monsters, things that were fantastical. I'm also a big fantasy fan. I was a really big fantasy fan when I was a kid. And there's a couple that I remember in particular. One time we rented Labyrinth, which was really huge for me.
I think I'm getting smarter. This is a piece of cake.
Something that really stuck out to me that was just so funny is that I loved all the monsters in it. There wasn't a single monster in that movie that scared me, but it was the hand tunnel that freaked me out.
What do you mean, help? We are helping.
We're helping hands.
You're hurting.
Would you like us to let go?
I also got Little Shop of Horrors, the remake, and it wasn't the Audrey 2 that freaked me out. It was the dentist scene. I remain the same. It's very rare to find a monster thing that I won't like, but weird humans touching each other still freaks me out.
So I met you in 2015, which feels like a lifetime ago at Necronomicon.
Necronomicon.
And you have this book coming out, Girls Make Movies, a follow your own path guide for aspiring young filmmakers. So I'm wondering if you can say a little bit about what inspired you to write this book.
It's funny because it connects back to those movies that I saw when I was a kid. I always really loved movies and was just so obsessed with them. Lots of kids watch movies over and over again. I'm sure there's a bazillion parents out there that have watched Frozen and Moana, 50,000 times. But I feel like I stayed in that even past being like a little kid. I would still do that when I was like 13. I still wanted to watch movies over and over again. Only mine were like Labyrinth, Lord of the Rings. And I truly believe that if someone had sat me down when I was 12 years old and finished watching Fellowship of the Ring for the 67th time and told me how movies are made and showed me, all the different jobs there are and that women can do all of those and like told me about famous female producers and screenwriters and directors and production designers, I would have gotten into film easily a decade before I did.
You have my sword. And you have my bow.
And my axe.
And I always wished that there were more resources and books and things aimed at young girls. We encourage girls in a lot of ways now, but there was no filmmaking book like for middle grade for young girls. So I've been wanting to do this book for a really long time, and I partnered with my friend Jen Vaughn, who illustrated it, and I wanted to make the book that I wanted when I was 11, that showed you how to make a movie. I would sit inches away from our TV and try to figure out like what was a best boy, what is a grip, what does a production designer do. I didn't know these things and I wanted to so badly. And you know, all the books about filmmaking at the local library were like very dense, academic, and written by men and really about men. So I just felt so very shut out of this world that meant so much to me. And this book lays it all out from start to finish. It's development, pre-production, production, and post-production. But sprinkled throughout there are all kinds of really cool women's history and illustrations of a really diverse group of women doing all kinds of things on set. Yeah, I just really wanted it to exist in the world.
And it sounds like it has a choose your own adventure type of format. Can you say a little bit about that?
Yes, I really wanted young girls to have the experience of being in the driver's seat. And so the way that you move through the book is you make your own choices about the movie that you're making. You're making a fictional zombie movie, and you get to navigate the book. Do you want the zombies to be computer generated, or do you want them to be practical effects? And you flip through the book, and your choices have consequences. I really wanted girls to have that experience of knowing what it's like to make those choices, and really, what better way to show girls how decisions are made, and how, you know, you can't just sit there and go, well, I want explosions and I want animal actors and I want this and I want that. Like, all those choices really have consequences for your movie. And at the back, there's tons of resources. Also, it has a movie log for girls to write down the movies that they're watching and their thoughts about them and their ratings. So I really, it's really fun. It's set up in a really fun way.
And I'm wondering if you can just say a little bit about what advice you have for women and girls starting in the film industry. You've given us like the sort of how-to guide, but in terms of just what kind of insights or advice could you give?
I think there is a prevailing wisdom that a lot of people think in the industry, that you have to sort of like earn your place. You know, you have to sort of put up with a certain amount of crap. You know, everyone has stories of terrible producers and directors and guys that they've worked with. And I really wish we could break that. I really wish we could make women understand that you don't have to put up with those things. You don't have to like earn your stripes. Even if it's like your first film and you're doing it with your friends, if you're working on a student film or it's your first job, you know, we are so conditioned to put up with crap. You know, I'll just let this thing go, but you don't have to do that. There are people out there, there are men out there to work with that aren't garbage people. You know, you can find a crew to work with. You can find a group of people to work with that won't treat you like crap and will value you. You don't have to put up with a certain amount of stuff to feel like you're worthy of being in this industry. If someone is disrespecting you, treating you like crap, disregarding the things you say, you don't have to deal with it, and you can leave, and it's not worth it.
Your first book that you published, The Lady from the Black Lagoon, so many people loved it. It was a LA Times bestseller. It was not only about Milicent Patrick, how you discovered her designing Gilman, which, surprise, not in the credits, but also about your journey researching and finding out about her life.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point of that book was just for people to know who she was. You know, she's still my hero. You know, I still have a frame photo of her and Creech in my office, despite the fact that I finished working on that book 5 years ago. That can't be possible. But yeah, 5 years ago, you know, she's still my hero. And I just wanted everyone to know what she did and how important it was. And yeah, I'm very honored to be still carrying her banner.
And what would you say is inspiring you now? Like, what's a source of inspiration for you these days?
Truly, reading about women doing stuff is my favorite thing. Like, it's the only thing I care about. Reading about all the firsts and all the cool women that have done stuff, not just now, but like since the dawn of film. You know, the very first narrative film ever was made by a woman, and like that stuff just makes me so excited. You know, there's this almost idea that like female filmmakers like sprang out of the ground in the early 2000s.
Yeah, there is like this narrative that this is something new, and you know, women in horror is this.
Women are taking over.
Yeah, right.
You know, like women invented this. Yeah. Women made the first narrative film. Women invented sci-fi. Women have been making horror films for 100 years. You know, women have a legacy in film. Women have a legacy in horror, and knowing that you are a part of that, and knowing that you don't necessarily have to like get your machete out and make your own trail. Like there is a path there, is really, it's so, to me, it's so powerful and makes you in your toughest days when you are struggling it out. It is not an easy industry, and that it doesn't matter if you were in film criticism, if you're a reviewer, if you're a programmer. Film is not always the easiest industry to be in, but knowing that there are other women who have done what you want to do can just be so helpful, so inspirational, so powerful. And that feeling is really what draws me to writing about history.
In addition to being an author, you also have a podcast called Reading Glasses. What's a book that you would recommend?
I just finished a book by an author that I really love. Her name is Cherie Diemaline, and she just came out with a new book called Venko, and it is a literary fiction adult witch book about witches and this woman who is in a really rough spot in life and ends up finding out that she is a witch and having to go to Salem. If you were looking for a book to read in the park now that it's getting nice and spring is here, you're looking for a beach book, it's this really, really good one. It's Venko by Cherie Diemaline. And
how can people follow you and hear about what you're up to?
Everything that I do is on my website, MalloryO'Mara.com. You can sign up for my newsletter that comes out once a month, and I just update everybody on books coming out, events, things that are happening.
Well, thank you so much, Mallory, for having the conversation. I'm looking forward to the book, and Viva Physical Media. Thanks again, Mallory. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Now spit!